Gary Patterson in the building. USC. It's a beautiful thing to see. I'm already liking what I'm seeing, what I'm hearing from Gary Patterson. This will be kind of my first full interview of what I hear from. I've seen clips, I've heard of him, heard good things. Former TCU coach, head coach, is a legend at TCU. And a lot USC, they were kind of late on getting this guy Gary Patterson because we fired our old defensive coordinator. Or we didn't fire our old defensive coordinator. That's what the problem. We let him leave to go to Penn State. We should have been proactive on getting a new DC because our old DC didn't get the job done for us. That's just the truth. It wasn't up to USC defensive standards. Okay, and the last guy, we already know about him, USC fans, he didn't get the job done. So hopefully that's why I'm looking for Gary Patterson this year, and I think he can do it, yo. I think he can hold some of the early opponents. If you guys heard me talk already, this is what I want to see USC to do. When we have San Jose, Fresno State early in the years, I want them to hold them under like 13 points. Because last year when we had Georgia Southern, we had Georgia Southern score 17 on us. That wasn't okay. And then Northwestern did their thing on us. Michigan State did their thing on us. So when we have those opponents when we're supposed to beat them, let's hold them under to 20 points, 13. So that's what I'll be looking for Gary Patterson this year, y'all. And welcome to the family, brother. Glad to have you.
And so it's like right now. As soon as I leave here, I'm going back to start scripting for practice 4 tomorrow and practice 5. And you take time to make sure you evaluate so you get guys in the right situations and doing the things you need to do. So if you want to change things, and which is the same thing that we had to do at TCU, you want to change things, it's a full-time job. It's not one of those things that you do 70 or 80% of your time. It's something that you do 100% of your time. And, everybody knew, in my family, knew when I jumped back into this how I'd be like, because that's the way I was at TCU. We only had one strength coach for football, so like everybody else has 5.
So I'm loving to see. I'm not going to pause it too much, but I'm loving to see he's already talking about, and some other pundits, and I think Lincoln Riley has talked about. He's always in the office. Lincoln Riley did say he hasn't seen him leave the office since he's been at USC, so that's a great thing to hear. And Jakeem Stewart, our defensive line, I think is going to be great. Another thing I'll be looking for him to see or watching, if he's going to touch on it, is how our secondary is looking, because he uses the 4-2-5 defense. So that's mostly like the 5 is secondaries mostly. So hopefully you can talk about it because our corners is a little undersized, I would say.
So you had to be in the off season. You had to be part of recruiting. I always consider myself more of a COO than a CEO because I just felt like TC was one of those places you had to be like that. It was everybody had to evaluate talent. Everybody had to be in the off season. Everybody had to be raising money. Everybody had to be doing all the things you need to do. So now you can take from me. Now I help with the recruiting part, but I'm not on the road recruiting. And I'm not raising money, and I'm not doing that. So now 100% of my time just goes to football. And so, you sit there and you grade and you do it, and how do you move people around so that you get the best group of guys you can have.
I would say hopefully he has a little hand on picking his recruits. It's definitely just not just Chad Bonig because it's a GM. I know he was at Notre Dame and he took that roster to a national championship. But I would, because he did take, 2 to 3 stars with TCU to a national championship and turn that defense into respectable defense at TCU. So definitely would love to hear him say, like, he has a little bit of in, but, he's just working on the defense and with his guys. So USC can recruit. I would say that too. We don't have a problem with getting our guys, but I did hear. Let me just touch on this real quick. I was watching a recruiting video on, I think it was a defensive lineman or something like that, and he's picking. I think his 3 top schools is USC, Texas, and another school, and he's thinking about not picking USC because of all the traffic that's here and the busy lifestyle. I mean, my goodness, y'all, like, can y'all get off the road? Like, does everybody have to go to work at, from, 6 to 9 o'clock at night? But anyways, but that's why he wasn't trying to pick USC, but I guess USC and the coaching staff is really trying to push him to go to USC now. and but he still wants to pick like somewhere else where it's more quiet. And I think that's kind of what what was it Graham for Michigan a couple 2 years ago that went to the Browns. He's from I think Anaheim, and that's probably why he didn't pick USC. You know, because he wanted just a quiet lifestyle, just wanted to focus on ball. So that's kind of think hindering you. I didn't want to say it, but that is probably the truth with USC right now. You know, it's just kind of busy, and a lot of kids just probably want to focus on ball and not want to sit in traffic for 2 hours or whatnot. But you won't have to do that when you live on campus. But let me stop talking.
On the field,
I'm hurting now.
you know, and our whole thing was to make our seniors, our older guys better, but really grow up with freshmen. I think we've come a long way with the redshirt freshmen and freshmen since we've done that. Now, obviously, the season we're going to find out, but I mean, we've only had 1 day of practice, so but already we have an opportunity that you can tell they're a lot more to have your whole team here since February, basically.
You and John Tez Williams share a Big 12 connection. Did you see a lot of his games like at Iowa State, and like how does he blend in with?
Yeah, he's number one. He's really mature. Mm-hmm. He's got a lot of leadership qualities. It's really helped that corner class, which has a lot of young players in it. And so him and Chasen both are guys, along with Prophet Brown in the secondary and Christian Pierce. You have your older guys that help the younger guys get where we need to. You know,
Shout out Prophet. Shout out Prophet. Let's go.
John Tez and Chasen and Christian up though, because they didn't go through those 15 days of practices. So how do you make up all those practices where everybody else?
He's talking about Christian, one of the guys from OSU. I talked about him recently. He's our tallest corner from Oklahoma State, 6'3" corner. I knew he was going to come back a little bit because I saw where he was from. He was from the IE. I was like, okay, yeah, this boy got to come home. So he did that. And yeah, hopefully we can get some taller corners. That's what I want to see USC get. And I'm about to watch this. I just got to touch on it, but it's a recruiting video on a quarterback for USC's recruiting. I don't like to see it. We already got Jonas in the waiting, bro. We already got Jonas in the waiting, Lincoln. Okay, get your butt off these quarterbacks. Okay, you already tried to get somebody else, and Oregon took him, I think, or somebody else. I mean, Julian Lewis went to Colorado, and then you had Jonas too. Can we just stop touching on the quarterbacks a little bit, Lincoln? Like, okay. I think we're good. I
But if
think
you're
we're
going to have
good.
a choice,
Right? Right, USC fans?
that your
We're good?
freshmen were able to keep growing through the spring, and the other guys just had to watch. So it gives us better depth. At least that's what the plan is. Be able to, you can rotate, because really, if you want to win a championship, it's got to be because you can have people that aren't going to get a chance to play, so because of whatever reason, right? And so the next guy coming in, can he play at a level that you can win ball games? I mean, that's what you're trying to get accomplished.
We talked in January about
Touchdown our secondary. That was cool.
bodies with the 4-2-5. Can you talk a little bit about that? How does that work? What's that look like?
Well, number one, we're already big. The name of the game is 5 down, guys. Everybody does it nowadays. I hadn't done as much, but we do, and creating those kind of things. Our thing is not to talk much about scheme, but it's we have a lot of depth at those front positions, and so for us.
What? So you're saying we have depth everywhere on the defensive end? Because the offensive side is where we have experience and depth, I would say. Wide receiver, a little inexperience, But I mean, if you telling me that we got depth, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. But what sides of the ball? You talking about defense? You talking about the fours? Our defensive line? Are you talking about the twos? Where's the linebackers or the fives? Where's secondary? Because the fives, I'm a little scared about the fives this year. Little scared. But I trust you. So we gonna trust
You
you.
need to make sure you use that. And the more you can stop the run, here's the whole thing about being big. The more you can stop the run, less you have to add secondary players to stop the run, less chance you have of giving up big plays, less chance you have of all these kind of things that go on. So, the better we keep playing and we keep maturing, because we've only had 1 day of pads. So, I think our best shots are still ahead of us in what we're trying to get accomplished. So for us, it's about, that's what I just did, a correction page before I came team over here tomorrow. So what the things we didn't do well, plus put in the new stuff that we're putting in. And so you just keep working with what you got to get better at. And then also, and I'm a whole guy, so it's basically we'll put our whole defense in 6 days. I've done that for the last 35 years. And then once you get down after 6 days, you go back to the beginning again. Now I'm back to the beginning, teaching, getting better, doing the things we need to do, and kids understand it. And you find out just what they don't know. The cool thing for us was you got kids understood, both team, both what they did before and what we do. The kids already knew the other part. And so I spent a lot of summer working on the things that they didn't know as much about, and so we caught up where we're all on the same level. So.
Having been out of coaching these last couple of years, as you take this job, was there any part of kind of relating to kids or just kind of being back in it that you were cognizant of?
See, here's the thing for me. Our model again was 40 not 4. I've always been people watch me on the sideline. They think.
And what, it's only been like 3 to 4 years? My goodness, kids haven't changed that much. Shoot, they still scrolling on TikTok and, IG. Shit. They still interested in some Jordans or whatever.
There's probably all kinds of words. Here's the thing: you guys have watched Field of Dreams, right? Mm-hmm. Where the guy walks across the white line and he becomes a doctor, and then he walks back and he's in uniform and he does. It's kind of where, hey, on the practice field, my job is to make them the best they can be, coaches and players. If there's anything old school about that, I'm just growing guys up. I've got a lot of coaches from NFL to high school that are head coaches, coordinators, and so the same thing with players. But once you walk off the field, then it's, as I coined the phrase, there's Coach P and there's Gary. And actually, my wife and one of my best friends coined the phrase. And so it's really about, okay, here's kind of helping you problems outside of football and do it. Then we'll get on the
Hey,
field.
Two-Face.
You got to shut all that other stuff off, and that goes for coaches along with players. No different than players. Here's what my job is. Here's what we're trying to get accomplished. Here's what we're getting better at. And then you walk off the field. How do I help them with their life? And I think that's way important. I think to be honest with you, it's an advantage for me compared to somebody that's 30 years old and doesn't have kids, never been married, doesn't know what it's like to grow with somebody up and raise a family and do things. This is my, I think, 45th season. 81, I think, is when I started. So it's one of those situations where I think some of those things actually become a bigger positive because there's not a lot of guys in this profession of the age.
Hey, man, get the old coaches back in the game, too. These old coaches can still do it. My one grip with Gary Patterson, if he does good at USC, will he be looking for a next head coaching job, Could he be... these old coaches can still do it. You saw Signetti, he just did what he did, but there's this one young buck that I got some faith in Florida, down in Gainesville. That boy Summerall, he put it on an intensity. It's good to see. I wish somebody, LR, would have that intensity, but we won't speak on that. But
you can gather. I can go back to things that I've learned through all the years. It's what I try to do for Coach Riley. If he has questions, here's what I've seen before. Here's what's happened. It's really about. One of the cool things about when I was at TCU, I had 5 or 6 guys that were always with me. So you didn't have yes people. You had people that they were going to have their opinion, whatever I said. So that everybody threw something out. So you just made good decisions. The whole thing is about making good decisions on the field, off the field, how you practice, how you travel, how you play ball games. And so, and I'm learning also. I think that's the difference with me and maybe somebody else is that, I'm not one of those guys that doesn't think you can't learn and get better at things. So.
Just hearing him talk now, like him saying, like, "Hey, I don't have to get involved with the recruiting and the boosters and everything like that." Like, he pretty much, I don't know. Like, I don't think he really, what was I trying to say? He really doesn't, like, he doesn't want to get back into head coaching or what this new day and age brings. So, I don't know why it took me so long to say that. My goodness.
How can you anticipate keeping throughout the season?
really not a detriment. I don't even know if they even notice it anymore. Well, yeah, and because all it is, it just teaches me, can I see where their eyes are? I mean, that's you want guys to. Everything's about eyes and feet when it comes to the back seven. Everything's about eyes and feet, and so they got to know when something happens where they're supposed to look and what they're supposed to do. And in high school, a lot of them just get told they just stare at the quarterback. And in the day and age, you have to get to where you teach. Everybody texts, so they text, they don't talk. They text, they don't talk, and they don't. They look straight ahead. So the key is
Said they scrolling on TikTok, on Instagram, not really caring for the others. So these coaches got to make them become brothers in this environment because it's real hard to try to get to know somebody or what they're about nowadays. For real, for real.
being able to communicate, be able to talk. Our definition of a great player here, at least on the defensive side of the ball, is the guy that goes on the field and makes everybody better. Not the best athlete, the guy that goes on the field and makes everybody better because everybody plays because he communicates, gets everybody in the right position, goes about his life and does things. And so that's what we're trying to get accomplished. That any 11 that go on the field, they all make everybody better. We can get that done, and we got a chance to play good football.
Who are some of the guys who have done that that you've seen?
Coach Riley, we kind of have a rule, not talking about players to do it, but obviously the guys you have in here, the older guys, you got somebody like Dez at linebacker, Devin, Jay Walk, you've got, Braylon, you've got Big V. I call him Big V instead of Ben Suverin because get under things, but they're older guys that they've been in wars, they've already been on the field doing things.
Yeah, the problem is tackling though, Jalen. You need to work on that shit. Okay? You need to work on that. Open space. What you gonna do when you see that boy from Oregon run crazy? You gotta, press up on him. Run up on him. Get it?
Brown, Christian Pierce, John Tez, Chasen. So there's a big difference between the older and the newer. There's not a lot of in between, at least on the defensive side. We're either older or we're young. And so they've really helped once all those guys have gotten back and things are trying to get accomplished. So.
What's it been like working with Lincoln so far now?
Awesome. He's great. He's a great guy. He's loud. He always asks questions of how it can help us to do the things we need to do. And it makes a suggestion when it does. If there's something that he thinks fits into both offense and defense, then we do something that helps us get better. Because that's the whole thing is, we all know it's, if you want to win championships,
You know what? After listening to this guy, I don't know if it's just the old school coaches or whatnot, but it's just they got like some type of aura, like Mr. Wonderful, not Mr. Wonderful, Mr. Warmth. You know what I'm talking about. If you're an old school person, you know what I'm talking about. I forgot what his name is, but Mr. Warmth was his nickname. Go look him up. They got an aura. I don't know what it is, but I like this guy more than Lincoln right now. The defense might be brighter days. I might be able to look out my window in October on a Saturday and be like, we the number one ranked we the top 10 defense. That's special. Let me go get an ice cream today. I don't know, but it's a good day when the USC's defense
you got to be able
doing
to play
good
defense
things.
in November. That's the key of the story. Every one of them that does this, those two teams that we just talked about, Ohio State and Indiana, in the red zone, both playing defense in November. So November, December, and then January we get in the playoffs.
Really quickly, because we're getting ushered out, could you just give us our elevator speech for the layman on the three safety positions and how maybe transition from the Big 12 to the Big 10?
Well, it's not different. Go look at my record against the Big Ten. I think the only team possibly I got beat by was Ohio State. So I think the thing that you got to understand is how you play the run is being able to play man somewhere where you have one.
So I was in the Big 12, the little conference. We all diminish us. Look at my record against the bigger conference. What nasty.
guy in the box that can't block. It's simple. It's not about big. When you do have big, it makes it a lot easier. They can't push you around. But the three safety system has never been. If you look at the Seahawks, he leads.
Who does that remind you of? Google me. I win ball games. I told y'all. These old coaches have an aura about them. It's just something. They've been in it too long. Okay, they've seen too much. That's the aura. They've seen too much. They done with it. They done with the BS. Okay, it's just ball with them. It's not Lincoln Riley. Oh, give me my $4 million house and and go live on the beach and do all this. No, we all about ball right now, homie. Oh yeah, you remind me of somebody. Hey, Gary Patterson. Google me. I went. Ooh.
It's the league in percentage. Seahawks of using the nickel in the NFL. It's not about getting bigger and doing all that.
Oh,
it's the guys that you put in
I
position.
can't wait.
Play.
I can't wait.
We will be
Ooh.
doing things that
He gonna have our defense looking nice.
On the three safety positions, what do you specifically for a layman that doesn't know your defense?
Layman is. So let me tell you how I did. I used to have a playbook, and then it got snuck out, and then people knew, and then I used to do teaching tapes, and then I had people selling them. So as a general rule, everybody goes back. If you see teaching tapes on YouTube, they were made like 30 some years ago, right? So the defense has changed a lot, but the difference between us is we like to have guys that communicate. If they can play man, and if they can be good force people, we got to.
And not be a quiet person on defense. And that is the interview.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate you, Coach. We'll see you. Hey, we'll see you during the season, Coach. Week 1. I like that. If y'all like that, tuned in. What do y'all want to see from him? Hey, man, it's special. It's a special year. Fight on, bro.